Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit Sports Talk. And today we're going to give you our top 10 power rankings for week 10. And Maddie, let's just start with 10 and work our way up to 1. And right away, always a disagreement.
Never an argument, though.
Okay, but I got the Pats, you got the Browns.
Yeah, I think the Browns have played their way onto this list, even though their record suggests that they shouldn't be. I think when you see a team with that much talent get everything together and click, then you've got to acknowledge that, and you've got to take back into account the fact that they are a really talented team. And if they wanted to go undefeated until the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, the funny thing is that's who I had going back and forth to put in the 10, right? And I gave it to the team, even though they got one more loss, was that I just think Belichick's got them coming. And Belichick's defenses just keep getting better and better as the year goes on. And Belichick has been known to say the season doesn't start until Thanksgiving.
Yeah, 100%. And Belichick, he doesn't give it. Like, obviously, if he's in a spot where he can go get the number 1 seed, he would like the number 1 seed. But he's all about making the playoffs. And then you just beat whoever's in front of you there. And I wouldn't want to face the Pats if I'm anybody in the playoffs.
Well, I guess this week will tell us which one of us was right to put them in the top 10 because they play each other. So that
because they don't feature on anybody else's list. They don't feature any further up. So it's not like a swap of positions or anything like that.
No, but it's the easiest one to figure out who was right. That's,
Yeah.
Well, on to number 9. I got the Chargers. You have
the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, the Cincinnati Bengals, obviously, people are going to say, well, they've just got the brakes beaten off them by the Browns, so how can the Browns be below them? The Bengals have put together a better season so far. The Bengals have come down a lot from my last week's prediction. They're a really, really talented team with a stellar quarterback, a stellar wide receiver. They just need some offensive line help and just maybe a few more stars on defense. I think they're going to see themselves sliding out of the rankings if they don't start to book their ideas up a little bit more and get replaced with your team.
Wow. My team here, the Chargers, I just think they're on an uptrend. I love the way Justin Herbert's playing. And I try to look at it as in if two teams or if this team versus other teams played on a neutral field, who do I think would win that game? I think the Chargers would win a lot of games against the teams that I have under them. And I just like the way they're going. I don't think they're going to set the world on fire this year. But for this week, I think they're the 9th best team in the NFL.
I think my problem with the Chargers is the fact that I think exactly the same as you. If I put them up against each other and went and picked against other teams, some of the other teams in this power ranking as well, I would probably pick the Chargers. The only problem is they haven't paid that back. They haven't beat those teams when we've called that they're going to beat those teams. So maybe next year when they've got like out of this, because they're still in this funk a little bit, the Chargers, of a organization that's there, but not right there, like that they have the right pieces. They just need to learn how to win and train those pieces to win. And I think the Chargers are definitely on an uptrend. I agree with you there.
All right, well, we'll go on to number 8, and this is the one where I am going to get beat up for again this week because I had Cowboys fans so pissed at me last week. But I'm like, I can't move you up the rankings, man, after you come off that loss to the Broncos. So they stayed exactly the same, even though they're better than the Broncos. I don't care what happened in that game. If they played 10 times, they beat them 8 to 9 times out of 10. So I left them right where they were, and I almost gave them 7 with the Bills, so I couldn't argue. But then I thought to myself, so let's say it's the Super Bowl. They both made it there. Which team do I like better? I like the quarterback with those receivers in Buffalo better than I like the quarterback in Dallas with those receivers, and that's literally what it boiled down to, so that might just be a bullshit way to do a ranking.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah. I think with the Cowboys, you've got to take it back to what I was just saying with the Browns, where they are a really, really talented team and have perhaps just been a bit off. So they definitely belong in the top 10. Anybody that doesn't have the Cowboys in the top 10, but I can definitely understand why you've put them 8. You can't move them up after a loss. That's, as far as I'm concerned, it's difficult to move any teams up after a loss. But I have the Buffalo Bills. So I've got the Buffalo Bills coming in at number 8. They'll fly back up the list by the end of next week. But I just looked at their loss and they look so bad, man. Like they looked like the Cowboys looked bad and they got beat up, but the Broncos are a decent team and you can understand where it went wrong. And they just weren't firing on all cylinders all night. And perhaps I'm getting a bit drawn into the fact that 30-16 looks a bit better, even though 16 of those points came in garbage time. But anyway.
Go ahead. Sorry.
The Bills just did not look good. Just nothing went right for them, apart from their defense, of course. But they were playing the Jags, who, if we did this in reverse, where bottom 10 teams in the power rankings, I think we would struggle to not put the Jags at 30, 31.
No, I agree. And then if we go on to 7, I'm talking about the Bills again now. So Josh Allen's a stud. Diggs is a top 5 wide receiver. Emmanuel Sanders can play. Cole Beasley can play. That defense can play. If you have to go there in cold months, good luck with that. I think they'll turn it around, but they did fall quite a bit down my power rankings from last week because they did just take a smacking that they shouldn't have taken.
Yeah, there's a real tumble. On my power rankings, they've gone from 1st to 8th just because of that. Like, as far as I'm concerned, power rankings should move a lot. When I see these hosts doing power rankings where it's the same teams like all the time, they're just moving a couple of slots around. It's like no, like power rankings should move a lot. Your team is less powerful by quite a considerable amount because you lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars. As far as I'm concerned, this is more of a short-term thing, our top 10. And I just want everybody to understand
weekly
before they go off. A weekly, it's a short term. It's how did you play this week? How do you look going into next week? For me, at number 7, I have the Tennessee Titans. The reason I've got the Tennessee Titans a bit lower, I do understand why some people have got them higher. Some people have got them at 5th. Bit of foreshadowing going up. But I've got them at this spot because I need them to show me what they're doing without Derrick Henry. That's all. I think they showed me last week, and I just need them to show me again before they shoot up the rankings. It's difficult to see kind of where their explosion is without Derrick Henry, apart from the fact that they also have AJ Brown and Julio Jones, who are absolute freaks. But these top 10 teams are the best teams in the NFL. So you've really, really got to show me what you can do. And I just want to see it this week against another decent team.
All right, Maddie, I'm not going to lie. Number 6, that's the one where I looked at yours and I was like, damn, really? You caught me off guard with that one. But I got the Ravens. The Ravens just keep winning. The Ravens keep winning close games. The Ravens just keep doing what the Ravens need to do no matter who gets hurt, no matter who's there, who's not. It's like next man up. We're just going to keep going. And I'm not saying that they should be 7-1, but they legitimately, with that Raiders game, could have been 7-1. That's with that said, all I'm saying is the Ravens are a really good team.
Yeah, the Green Bay Packers are my pick 6. I understand why you've got the Ravens there. I've got them quite considerably higher because they just seem to, like, they just score points and score points and score points, and everybody knows how you're going to play against them, and they're just going to go there. But I have the Packers in spot 6. And the reason that they've got them there is because they lost to the Chiefs, and they only scored 7 points against that Chiefs defense, which is shocking. And the only reason they scored 7 points is because Aaron Rodgers wasn't playing. But they've pissed off Aaron Rodgers. What's to say that Aaron Rodgers wants to come back and play for those dickheads who picked this guy who clearly can't play football for them, or didn't play good football last week. And they lost, and I can't have you that high off. I can't move you up off a loss. And last week I had them around this spot as well, but that was because Jordan Love was playing. So I understand why they go back up because Aaron Rodgers is coming, but they only scored 7 points, even though they had all of their receivers and their running backs in that game.
See, and that's the one game of the week that I don't even think you can base a team how they are off of, because the guy wasn't there. And just to your point where they pissed him off, does he want to come back and play? I think Aaron Rodgers is the exact petty that comes back and goes, look what you're going to lose because you were an idiot, and plays lights out. That's the kind of guy I think he is. But on to number 5, where I got the Tennessee Titans. And what you said is you had them at 7 because you want them to show you. I have them at 5 because I think they did show me more than what I expected of a King Henry-less Titans team.
Yeah, of course. And it's against the Los Angeles Rams, who are a really good team. Like, they're in both of our top 5s. They're an incredible team. I just wanted them to show. I just want them to show me a bit more without their star player. I just want them to show me a little bit more before I can put them against the Packers. I put them before the Packers. And how about them Cowboys in at number 5 for me? The Cowboys are one of the most talented rosters in the division. The reason that they lost last week, as far as I'm concerned, is because they just had an off game, which I know you can say about the Bills as well, but we had our off game against a decent team, whereas they had their off game against we had our off game against a decent team, whereas they had their off game against the bottom 3 team in the NFL. They've just got talent all over the field, and I think you would find it difficult to find rosters where you can't say, "Oh, the Cowboys players can arguably get into your team there. They can get into your team there. They can get into your team there." The only problem with them is defense, of course, and it's been their problem for a very long time, and they can do without letting those big plays go. But it's a young secondary who seem to be learning every single game.
Well, on to number 4. Looks like we finally agree on something with the Rams.
An agreement. The Los Angeles Rams are a fantastic football team. We've spoke about them at length. They're the perfect team to get in Los Angeles. They've got stars all over the field. That loss last week came against a really good Tennessee team, and they were just a bit off. And Matthew Stafford is an absolute stud, one of the top quarterbacks in this league.
Yeah, I don't think much more needs to be said about the Rams. They can play. They lost to a good team, and it was an uncharacteristic loss. So we'll move on to the number 3 spot. I got Tommy Terrific and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I still think they're one of the top teams in football. I don't think that that's even a question. I know Tom had a clunker last week, but that's an anomaly.
I've got the Baltimore Ravens, due to the fact that everybody knows exactly what they're going to do, and they're still able to do it to you the entire time. Their defense is not as healthy as it should be, and they're still winning games. And Lamar Jackson's just an absolute freak of nature and a terrible matchup for every single team in the NFL.
I did drop the Bucs down 1 from my number 2 team last week because they did take that loss, but I still think they're one of the top 3 teams in the NFL without a doubt. And I think they're one of the 3 teams battling for the Super Bowl in the NFC. And as we're going to see, my top 3 teams are all in the NFC.
Well, I tend to agree with you, and that's why I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 2. They've actually managed to go up in my rankings, even on a bye, due to the fact that all the top NFC teams lost this week. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are just a superhero of a team, with Tom Brady, the GOAT, leading them behind, and just able to pick defenses apart with weapons that he seems to just say, "Oh, it's your turn this week. Oh, it's your turn this week," and they just go from there. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a difficult proposition for any football team to play against.
Yep, and I got those bad boys of the Arizona Cardinals pulling off a win without Kyler Murray. I think this team is stacked. I think they're one of the better teams in the NFC. I think any of these top 3 teams I have could probably beat each other in the playoffs. But, man, the Cardinals are coming.
I've got I called the Arizona Cardinals at the start of this season. I think they're an incredible football team with a lot of my favorite players in the NFL in them. And that's why in at number 1 for the Brits NFL top 10 power rankings, week 10, the Arizona Cardinals. They're an incredible team. They're clearly a team as well. They were missing their 2 stars. and really laid it down in a divisional game. They've just got some of my favorite players in the NFL. I find it difficult to think that Kyler Murray isn't one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch in the NFL. DeAndre Hopkins is one of my favorite wide receivers to watch in the NFL. Zaven Collins was probably my favorite draft pick coming out because I was really going to bat for him. Buda Baker is one of my favorite safeties to watch in the NFL. I just absolutely love them. And it's a shame that JJ Watt got injured when he did, because this could be his one chance at a ring.
Well, my number one team is the Green Bay Packers with that bad man Aaron Rodgers, who went in and beat the Arizona Cardinals without the best receiver in football. And like I said, they're the only team I'm not making them take the blame on that loss for their power ranking, because with Rodgers, they win that game going away and everybody knows it. And I still think Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers have the best offense in football. Their defense is just getting better. And I think on a neutral field, they could beat anybody on this list.
I've got Jay's top 10 written down here, and I haven't put the Packers at number one. I refuse to do it. I've put Aaron Rodgers as the number one team in the NFL.
Hey, all I'm going to say is this is coming from a Vikings fan, so it fucking pains me.
Yeah, man. I couldn't do it.
It pains me.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers is an incredible football player, and I think he shows his worth to that team by the fact that they only scored 7 points against the terrible Chiefs defense. I mean, if it's top 10 teams, then I struggle to put them in my top 5. If it's top 10 players, then yeah, they're number one because they have the top player in the NFL. As we go through in Aaron Rodgers, who, even with the fact that he's a prickly guy, should get the MVP votes, even though he's not going to.
Yeah, that bad man and his Packers beat the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it's all down to Aaron Rodgers as far as I'm convinced.
But as of week 10, I think they're the best team in football.
It's all down to Aaron Rodgers, how they beat the Cardinals. I don't understand how they did that, but they are a good football team. It's just I struggle to look at them and put them that high as a team. Is all I'm getting at. Whereas the Arizona Cardinals have a madman in every single position, it seems.
Well, there you have it, guys. Stay tuned next week for Week 11 power rankings. I hope you enjoyed, and tell us why we're wrong or right in the comments. We love the interaction.
Treat us like shit. Get in the comments and just fucking ruin us, man. I absolutely love seeing you guys just taking us to the cleaners with your opinions. I love it. We've forgotten a team. There's definitely a team that's incredible in the NFL that both of us have forgotten to put in our top 10. And if you guys think of them, then please do let us know.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.